So the center of your emotional range is what you play, right? My website is, have you all seen my website? Okay, so what do you think about the person whose website that is? What does it tell you?
She has a great web developer.
And his name is Travis, and he's here. He is actually brilliant.
I would say just a few power and intelligence.
Okay. Are you doing that based on knowing me or the
No,
website?
I'm saying that based on like just seeing the picture right away. You know,
Okay.
Like,
Okay.
The focus and intensity is, to me, it comes across as intelligent and powerful.
Okay.
You know, I'm just
Good. This is good. What else?
She's specific.
Okay. What else? Remember that? Remember the exercise I did in the class in the retreat? What do you know about this person? Pay attention to every element. What do you know about them? That's good that you feel that.
and you know.
For, I won't get that.
You don't even have to look at the words. What do you feel?
Character.
Okay. What else?
I was gonna say the color selection. And this is not for me just working on it, but just from from a user experience perspective. Like it's cozy. It feels almost like there's home, and the light there's a dark to light that brings you into center. Like so, you almost kind of settle in. And then the movement brings you the way it moves. It brings you to straight to the quotes. And you kind of sort of drift right on the homepage for a little bit and go, okay, what's going on here? Then the next thing is I immediately see that there's a way to get a hold of you before I start going on to anything else. Those are the two experiences. Is I find out about you, I can get a hold of you.
Okay. And then look at this website. My other website. And tell me what you know about this organization based on the site. What do you immediately know about this organization?
It's a business.
That's right. Why?
The
Well,
logo, it's very clean.
The color right off the bat tells you,
It's gray.
the square line.
We do business. We're not this person. That's intentional. Okay. This website is not blue. It's very sensible blue. It's just my favorite color. That's why I'm wearing sensible blue today, since you paid your money for some sense. You didn't pay for a bohemian to sit here and talk about Santeria and Wicca and how the universe has centered me. This person might talk to you about that. This person might get new agey and be your guru. And, she's going to play the next door neighbor who's a professor, who's a little kooky, who wears big earrings. It's magenta. It's not blue. Blue says business. Blue says office. Blue says lawyer. Blue says think tank. Magenta says free, powerful, earth mother, gold. It's emerald, it's vibrant colors. This is probably a character actor, but a really strong character actor. You don't experience, even without reading anything, just the visual, what you feel from it, you're like, oh, wow, really creative and funky and fun, right? There's another actress who's on Fringe, the light-skinned black girl with the afro. What's her name? I can't think of it now. Her site is genius. Is anybody at IMDb right now?
Except for the Flash, that was a genius. The design was good.
I want you to look at her. I just look at her website because it tells you something about her, specifically what she's selling, and you can't take your eyes off of her site. What's her name? Is anybody on their iPhone? Can they Google cast of Fringe? Fringe? Oh wait, I'm in it. But, huh?
It should give you the cast list.
Oh, I'm looking. I don't see it.
Scroll down.
Oh, duh. What's her name? Jaquisa Nicole. Right? Yeah. Jessica Nicole. Okay. Jessica Nicole. You can Google her on your phone if you want. She has a little problem that we had to fix is your website should be accessible to anybody, anywhere. As an independent film producer, I'm telling you, things get cast from the iPhone. We even did our auditions. The casting director did the auditions. In our set, we had offices donated to us, which we also use as a set. So usually you're in some abandoned floor in an office building, and the people are doing the auditions over there. The crew is doing setup here, and we're shooting the movie over there. She was like, I'm putting it on the phone. And the director was in a car coming back from a commercial shoot, and he's going to cast tomorrow's crew from the iPhone. If your website is in Flash and he can't see it, you're not getting the job. Period.
It's a good thing your designer had the foresight for that.
And offer an option on your website for your reel. Your reel, your headshot, and your reel should be any place, anytime. If you call me in Germany tomorrow, drunk on the floor, I can email you my headshot, my resume, because it's on Vimeo, it's on Actors Connection, it's in 15,000. It's in my Dropbox, it's in my iPage. I always have access to it. I can send it from my phone. I can send it from an email. I can send it in a document. I can attach a file. You always have to have access to that. And your website, in lieu of having that, should always have that information completely accessible. So nothing on your website should be hard to reach on a phone or a BlackBerry. Somebody should be able to open the documents. So if they're in a program that's not able to be read on a phone, you're in trouble.
And are you saying Flash? I just wanted to just make sure. Are you saying Flash Player is not something?
It's not.
It's not mobile
What are you
friendly.
using? What is that then?
That's JavaScript.
So you then just talk to your website designer. You go, can this be read anywhere? Okay. So part of why I showed you the website, see, she's in Flash, so we can't see her website at all. That's fucked.
She didn't know a good developer.
That's fucked. So,
So Java's universal, Flash.
yeah, and by the time you get this done, something else may be universal. So why I started talking about the center of range and looking at this website is that the colors of my website and the colors of my apartment were chosen to reflect what I sell emotionally. You know that this is what you're buying from April Yvette Thompson right off the bat. So that when casting directors have me in a certain file for a certain type, if they then send the directors to my website, they're going to look at it first and be like, oh, absolutely. I don't even have to bother sending them a headshot. I just send them right here. Because I know who she is. Let's work for me, the casting director, in communicating who she is, because this is going to pop up on his phone. And he's going to be like, she is our art curator, like there. Or she's our West Indian woman who sells art. Like, I've been cast from my website. And emotionally, I had to figure out what it is that I do, because I will be playing that the rest of my life. You know, what is this ingenue business? I was 6 and I was a grown woman. I've never really played an ingenue. I've always played this. When I was 6, this is who I was. Well, the book said, and I'd like to discuss it with you. I was never an ingenue. I had to be like, well, is it a soubrette or whatever? So everything about me, when I walk into a room, I may have on a conservative wrap dress. This is totally in my scheme, though. And I have big funky earrings and have the funky boots, even though this is toned down because it's on camera. But I'm always communicating the same, hair, no hair, you're always getting emotionally the same person, even in auditions, all the time. This also communicates solo performer, because this is a different person in every single screen. And I get that all the time, like, God, you're unrecognizable. And I was like, because I'm a solo performer. I don't mimic, I become this other thing. Male, female, whatever, I become it. And you totally believe that I am that thing. That's what I sell, always. It's what I sell as an artist because I'm a producer and I'm a writer and I'm an actor. I transform and all those different brains move. That's what I sell as a whole. Your website needs to sell essentially who you are and what is the most marketable thing about you, right? The center of range, and I'm going to use you as an example, and then I'm going to say an example that someone did this with me. So, favorite scene in a movie and why? We're working on this exercise right now.
I was just looking at it, so, the color purple,
Uh-huh.
God is trying to tell you something.
Mm-hmm.
And why?
Yes. Specifically. What's the sentence I kept asking you day before yesterday? What's the sentence I asked you day before yesterday?
What do you feel?
Uh-huh.
What do you feel? What do you feel? I've been dreading this.
I know.
Thinking what do I feel? I guess looking at it again, I felt this sense of anticipation,
Mm-hmm.
and as the scene goes on, this sense of release,
Mm-hmm.
like a burden was fell off or
Mm-hmm.
was lifted, and I felt happy.
Mm.
So it was a few things. A few
Mhm.
things I felt throughout the course of it.
You think that's specific?
No.
The fifth day that I met with my coach doing this exercise, we finally got to, and because I kept having in my mind, oh, it has to be somebody like me, it has to be that, and I was like, and she was like, no. Something that you saw, that you walked out of, and it changed the way the air enters your body. And you couldn't breathe, you had to share it. Waiting to Exhale, silly little movie. Some of the acting was good, some of it wasn't, whatever. It was fun. I went with my 20 black girlfriends from college. And we're like, wah! We're just glad there's black people on the screen. We're like, we don't care. We're like, ooh, that's a bad actor, she can't act. It was fun. Loretta Devine and Gregory Hines. The very last scene. I took him to school, and then I cleaned the house. You know, I cleaned the house all the time, and I made them collard greens, and then I did this, and he said, I love you. She's like, yeah, because my baby is going away, and I don't even know, I love you. And he said, I love you. And she was like, what? I tell you, I cleaned the house, and then I got to, and he said, I love you. I didn't even know. She couldn't see herself, so she couldn't see him. I watched that scene. I'm hollering with my friends. I burst into tears. And my friends was like, what? I was like, I don't see myself. I know exactly what she feels like. She couldn't imagine that he loved her. I can play characters who are so amazing. Why wouldn't the whole world love them? They can't imagine anyone loving them. What they do is get it right. They're good girls, they are responsible, they do for the community, they take care of everybody else. They don't see themselves. And everybody around them can be like, you're so amazing. And you're like, I'll just do what I need to do. And it was that moment in which he stopped and made her see herself. She was wiped, she just couldn't stop crying. That was not acting in that moment. That was totally being. Because she goes from, you do? Mm-hmm. Me too, right? I can't watch that. I can't talk about that and that not live in me. So that any role I go to, that is my recurring emotional chord, right? Medea. The first 20 minutes of the play, the director's like, just go in there and cry and just wail. That's the whole first 20, during the half hour, the audiences were at the top of your lungs, screaming. I was like, oh, shit. The first time I realized I didn't see myself. First time I went into a store and my grandfather sent me inside to get his prescription filled, and they kept serving all the Cuban people, which is what they do in Miami, and ignoring me. And I was like 9. I'm still a black kid in the Eckards. And I was like, I have to, and they walked in front of me, they served everyone. And I was like, my grandfather, and I was like, they don't see me. And then I went, perdón, yo tengo este para mi abuelo. Ay, tú no eres una negrita, tú eres americana. Tú eres americana. Ay, tú hablas español, tú es cubana, ¿no? Ay, no eres una negrita. She's not black, she's not a little nigger. She's a Cuban, we can speak to her. And I went back out to the car, and I said to my grandfather, who was white, I was like, they wouldn't serve me because I didn't speak Spanish. And he said, you're too black and you're too wonderful. They don't know what to do. And I cried. That was the first time someone didn't see me and I didn't matter. That is a recurring chord, right? I can go into any audition and my spin, Medea, oh, I've given everything and no one sees me. I'm just a bald-headed slave who they can just discard whenever they want. Tears, I could give you 30 minutes of tears every single night, 8 shows a week. And I did. Because that is where I live emotionally. That's a chord for me. When you watch a film, it's not about this exposition of a scene. It's about what is at stake here for this character. How are they changed by the end of the scene? What has it cost them? What have they lost? What have they learned? And those are archetypal things. Loss of justice. You know, if you're being taught Meisner properly, yeah, I said it. By the end of your second year, your teacher is saying, now we've examined your chords. I would like you to move, even by the first year. So through the first semester, you've had different activities and you've explored humiliation. My humiliation exercise was putting blackface on my face in front of my entire class. It was all white. I was like, oh. And my teacher said, okay, we've got humiliation. That's about 180 degrees. You know how to do that. So next time you need to access humiliation, that's the chord you pluck, right? Sensuality and being desired. Woo! Took me 3 years to get to that exercise. No clue. And my teacher said, that's your chord. Every film, every play. I can read a novel. I read Edwidge Dandicott novels about Haitians and boats dying and his father having to let the child live and jumping in the water with the sharks. I could be on the subway weeping. Wole Soyinka, Death and the King's Horseman. Didn't even matter what, those are my chords. So you watch films and you read books and you watch plays and musicals to figure out what gets you right here emotionally, because that's going to be the source of your work. That is going to be the source of your specificity. And when I'm working with a student, like the student I was talking about, Frank, once I figured out what his emotional chord was, Pladau. We could put together a whole series of plays and movies, did his reel. I was like, this is where you live. And he said to me, it was Rocky was one. I don't recall the other movie. It was like some crazy comedy with Bill Murray. It wasn't Lost in Translation. It might have been Groundhog's Day. And I was like, what about Groundhog's Day? And he was like, dude, everybody thought dude was a weirdo. Everybody was just like, and he was really funny, but his funny came from being on the outside and everybody thinking he was an idiot and a loser. I get that. And I was like, and then Rocky, he was like, the guy who's not supposed to win. I was like, that's your chord. Everything that I gave him from then on. I could talk to him about the work from that. I could say, Benedict is making these jokes. He's not going to get Beatrice because he's the guy that never gets her. Lights came on, his Benedict was hilarious because he got the guy that's not supposed to get it. Even though looking at Frank, really good-looking kid. Really good-looking, sort of Italian, Jewish, like Beastie Boys, but really hot. Kind of looking. I was like, you're hot. He was like, nah. I was like, dude, the blue eyes, the Italian thing, it's hot. It's hot. He was like, nah. And I was like, you think you don't get it when everybody else around you. I was like, I understand that. And I could just say to him, and it got to the point where I was like, okay, bring me something back. It's Rocky. She's going to leave you if you don't win. Woo! He could go right to it. That is going to be his emotional chord his entire career. That is never going to go away. But you got to know it. And some of it, and it's why I tell my students to get into therapy. Not just because you're crazy. Because that thing that we talked about, and you are, we all are. I mean, the goal in life is to find somebody who's crazy is akin to your crazy and it all works out. But there's twofold in the process of being in therapy. And I got an email from a classmate of mine asking me about the Landmark Forum. And I was like, cult group therapy, get a good therapist who's focused on you, who has a degree, who can help you solve problems. Those people don't have degrees. They took a bunch of workshops. And it's a pyramid scheme. That's great. You want to make some money? Go do it. You want to work on your stuff? You want to get out of your own way? And actors get in their own way all the time. I mean, I do it. Nobody's ever going to love me. Nobody's ever gonna. This actually happened to me last week. Nobody's ever gonna love me. That's my emotional cord, and now I'm gonna write about it in the scene. Nobody's ever gonna love me. It's Valentine's Day. I need to change the scene. Meanwhile, hello. Hello, you are so pretty. I see you all the time. I was like, and then that's what happened to her. Oh my God, she is his beloved. His brother, steady like, he's like, I've been seeing you in the gym for 2 years now. I was like, oh, I can't write about my cord. Somebody wants me. It's the craziest thing ever. Like crazy. And then he was like, he clearly could not get my attention. So he was like, what you doing? I was like, my play. And what happened to her in the play? And then she was like, that is beautiful. And I was like, I know somebody loves her. And he was like, but you fine. I'm trying to love you. And I was like, oh my God, that's my chord. I could play that in the dark with a broke leg and not having eaten in 3 days. Once you know that that is your way in. And once you know how not